Hi guys, Miles here, and this is a video about me doing a thing. Okay, yeah, it's kind of a big thing. Either way, I wanted to share that with you, so here we go. For those of you that don't keep up with my community posts, I recently lost a pet that I have had for a very long time. So this is the moment in the video where I'm gonna take a second to be serious and just remember her life and all the love she gave to me over the many years that we were together. Rest in peace, Angel. We love you and you're greatly missed. Alright, with that out of the way, I'm gonna put my happy voice on again because technically this is a happy project. So many of you will know I'm a huge animal person, and so when an animal of mine passes away, that's really hard on me. And after about 2 months of my dog having been gone, I started to have this idea of, okay, I think I'd like to help another animal or rescue another animal in need. Angel was actually a rescue, and the story of how I got her is really cool. I won't share it here, but for anybody interested, I might leave some information in the comments or the description. Either way, I began looking for another animal to add to my life. Now, at first I thought, goodness, well, I'd love to have another dog. But right now, financially, that is a big thing to take on, and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't think I can do this. So I decided to get creative and look at what other animals I could bring into my life. Now, yes, originally I did have a few crazy ideas, but I immediately put those to bed. I don't need any more crazy in my life right now. That's for sure. Either way, I took a little tour around my house and looked at what I had and what I would need to possibly buy for a bunch of different animals, and finally settled on something I felt like I could sustainably do, which was a hamster. Then I set up a master plan. 1. Buy everything I would possibly need on sale or on discount only. Hey, listen, times are hard. And while I can always provide for all of my animals, I try to stay within budget so that they can eat well and I can eat well as well. You know, lots of well for everybody. Okay. 2. Do this over the span of a few months and be ready by the time that summer hits to welcome a new rescue into the family. And 3, bide my time and wait for the perfect hamster to come along. And let me tell you guys, the plan started off really well. I was buying things gradually over time, every time a sale came up, and it was all good. You know, until it wasn't. Because after step 1 of the plan, things just kind of happened. And before I knew it, I had a hamster on the way and I wasn't ready. See, I did a thing, as I've mentioned before in this video, and that thing was I decided to get creative and go on Craigslist, you know, just to look. Guys, let me just tell you, when you're looking for an animal, there is no just to look. If you're looking, you will find what you're looking for, if you look hard enough. And I absolutely believe that, with all of my heart. And I just so happened to stumble across this dude, which not only was the type of hamster I was looking for, but was also the color of hamster I was looking for, was in the price range that I was looking for, which was literally 0 because he was a rescue, and was near enough that I could go and meet him the next week. Long story short, his parents were moving out of the country and they needed to rehome him. They were willing to let him go for $0 and include everything that he owned, which honestly wasn't very much, but still, this is a big deal when you have a hamster. They can get stressed out so easily, so the fact that they were willing to let his home go with him was a big sell point for me. That way, when I brought him to my place, he could stay in his original home for a little bit, and then I could move him over gradually when he was ready. Again, really important stuff. And because all of this lined up so perfectly, I made the decision to say, absolutely, yes, I'll take him. And then proceed to panic. See, if you remember my plan, I was supposed to have many months to get all of the things that I needed. And if this were to go through, I would have a little under a week to get everything. So your girl had a little panic party, and then she sat up, realized, okay, stuff needs to get done. This hamster is meant to be with me, and because of that, I need to give him the best home possible. Which was already in the works, but I needed to do it now. And so I went to the internet. And within a few hours, I had found a lot of great deals on all of the things that I needed. Now, let me just tell you, that did not all go smoothly, and I ran into a few issues along the way, but God bless me, this was meant to happen, and I swear every little roadblock that came up basically was solved within a few hours. Praise the Lord. So I took this as the sign that it was and went forward with things. I got this huge tank on sale, got a bunch of these fixtures on sale, had extra bowls, ramps, ladders, and stuff like that from my rabbit that I could use, then went to good old Walmart and found everything else I'd probably need. Then all that was left was to set it up. Now real quick, I'd like to show you a picture of the enclosure that he was currently living in. Yeah, there's a lot of things wrong with this, but again, I am not one to judge. These people had only had him for 3 months and they got him from a pet store, so I can't really blame them. This is probably what the pet store told them would be absolutely fine. But I knew no hamster of mine would ever be living in a space like this for very long. That's just not how I operate. All of my animals live in mansions. This guy, well, he was living in an apartment. He sorely needed an upgrade. Now. Not only was his wheel not functional, but he didn't even have a water dish and was drinking out of a broken water bottle. There was absolutely no room to dig or burrow, and his food was being placed in a little dish with no real chance to forage for anything. All this needed to change. So I started creating the perfect hamster paradise, and that turned out a little bit like this. Lots of bedding, lots of space, lots of burrows, and multiple areas to scatter food around for scatter feeding, which if you don't know, provides a lot of enrichment that is absolutely critical to keeping a happy hamster. If you've ever had a hamster that all they wanted to do was escape, well, this might be why. I also purchased a box full of super cool toys for him to play with once he got into his new enclosure. I purchased some high quality food, and before I knew it, the cage was set up and I was ready to bring him home. Well, mostly. Okay, to tell you the truth, I was still super nervous up until the day of. But those nerves did work themselves out in time, and after 2 hours on the road, I finally got to meet this guy, who, though I haven't mentioned it yet, is named Gus. Or was named Gus. Yeah, I had to change that. His first night here was really low-key. He didn't want to do anything, which I can understand. I mean, we were on the road for a super long time, so I let him sleep and get used to the environment, and pretty much left him alone. This is a recipe for success. Whenever getting a new hamster, you really want to leave them alone for at least 3 days before you try to handle them or anything else. Though I will tell you I cheated a little bit and I handed him a piece of food a few times. It was adorable. I tried to control myself, but you know, I'm weak. After 3 days spent in his old enclosure inside my house, the day finally came and I was ready to move him over to his new home. I'll have to tell you, I was like super nervous and super excited all at the same time, so this probably took longer than it should have. But I took extra time moving over his toys and some of his bedding to the new cage so that he felt like he would be super at home once he moved in. Then came the moment of truth. Would he love it or would he list it? Sorry, I forgot this wasn't a realty show. Moving up from an apartment to a mansion, you're gonna have to love it. My worrying and concern was put to ease though the moment he set foot in his new place, because not only did he love it, but he loved it so much that he stayed up all afternoon and the rest of the night exploring. And yeah, this was the most active I've seen him since I brought him home. Not only could he not burrow in his old cage, but he couldn't even use his wheel. And in this new cage, well, he had the best of both. He could burrow to his heart's content and run on the wheel as much as he wanted. And I don't think it's wrong of me to say that he went wild and had an amazing time. Now, they told me he was a little bit of a grumpy guy and they couldn't really handle him, but after a few days of being on his own, he was more than happy to come up to me for food and even for a sniff. Guys, it is no secret to say that I have absolutely fallen in love with previously Gus, now named Daichi, which, just in case you didn't know, means or refers to Earth in Japanese. And given the time that he spends burrowed, I thought that this was pretty fitting. So yeah, that's our story, and this is his new home. I'm super excited to have him, and it's been a really great experience so far. Now, I haven't owned a hamster in a super long time, but I'm really excited to get back into ownership and see where life takes us from here. By the way, just in case you're an old school hamster owner, this is what tanks should look like, as natural as possible, with many opportunities to burrow, forage, etc. Believe me, I really didn't know much of this until I started doing research recently, so there's that tidbit for you. Hope it helps. Dude, this guy was doing everything. He was burrowing, he was looking after food, he was checking out all his new hides, he was in his wheel, he was off his wheel, and everywhere in between. Here's him eating a piece of broccoli. It's so cute. And here's him looking at his new toys. Also cute. Here he is getting stuck in a hide. Here he is just hanging out in a hide. Here he is climbing on things. And, well, you get the idea. Alright guys, I think I've covered everything, so I'm gonna wrap this video up. But if you have any questions about hamster ownership or the process of building a naturalistic cage, absolutely leave your questions in the comments and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Alright guys, this is Miles and Daichi signing off. I love you all and stay awesome. Bye!